Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Pancrase Bantamweight Victor Henry. Victor, how are you?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Victor, you got a fight coming up December 13th at Pancrase 273. How's training been going for the fight?
It's been awesome. Spent a little bit of time in Thailand. Got back, started over Josh again. All the guys over at CSW have been pushing me really hard for this fight, and looking to go in as the best version of me to this date.
This fight on December 13th will be for the Bantamweight King of Pancrase title. Go back with me to your last fight. Going into that fight, did you know that there was a title shot on the line, or after you won that fight, they presented you with the title shot? Could you explain how this all came together?
Well, when I first signed with Pancrase, the intention was to get to a point where I would be the champion. Of course, there's a lot of 135ers over in Japan, and they all want a shot at that belt. So I mean, naturally going in there, I always feel like I have to put on a great show, and I have to do my best to get that title shot. I want to earn it. I don't want to just have it handed to me, So going in, I always want to finish my opponents. I don't want to go to the decision. And the fight I had before that went to a split, which I didn't like. So naturally, went in there and gave it my best, and luckily it came out with the first round choke.
Were you surprised that Pancrase gave you a title shot, considering that Ishiwatari, the champion, he lost a non-title fight to Jonathan Brookins in his last fight under the Pancrase banner? Were you surprised that they decided to give you the title shot over giving Brookins a shot at the title in the rematch? Were you surprised they gave you a title shot?
No, absolutely not. From what I hear, Brookins and the Ishiwatari fight from before that was very lackluster. It wasn't very entertaining, and even though Brookins came out with the win, it wasn't fun to watch. And in Japanese culture, in Japanese MMA culture, I should say, entertainment takes paramount rather than just the win. I think a lot of American MMA, they're satisfied with the win. When Japanese culture, even if they lose, but it's an entertaining fight, they give much respect for that. So, I wasn't too surprised, because who wants to see a boring fight again? Rather put me in there with Ishiwatari, and people know they're going to get an entertaining fight.
This is a big opportunity, no doubt about it. It's a big opportunity for any fighter to step into the position that you're stepping in, fighting for the King of Pancrase title. But for you, it has to be even more special given the history that you have in the sport. The guys who you train under, a long time ago, they made names for themselves in Japan. You have Eric Paulson, who you trained under. At one point in time, he was the Shudo light heavyweight champion. And then you have Josh Barnett, who obviously was the open weight King of Pancrase and did great things in Pride and Dream and Sengoku and all these other great Japanese organizations. How much does this opportunity mean to you?
It means a lot. It's like you said, man. I mean, it's my way of honoring my trainers and my instructors, because they, like you said, they made their names in Japan, and I'd like to do the same. They've solidified their legacy in Japan with all those great shows, and I want to go out and do the same, and then eventually, give the same opportunities to somebody who I start training maybe one day. Japan has been good to a lot of people for MMA. Not only that, but you take a look at Boss Rutten. He did the same thing when it came to America, made a big name for himself. Nate Marquardt. There's a lot of guys that came out of the Pancrase organization and made great names for themselves, and I'm excited to be part of that group. I'm just excited to be part of the whole process, and to be part of that group would mean a lot to me, because those are guys I actually look up to.
How do you feel about being the main event for this card? Is that a big deal to you, or does it really not matter where you fight on the card?
To me, it doesn't matter. I've been part of the main event before. in other shows, and to me, it's just when do I get to fight? It doesn't really matter. Being the last fight is, it is what it is. It's not too big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Is it going to be rough this time around because there's 21 matches on this fight card? So if there's a bunch of decisions in here, you could be fighting way later than you had expected. And, warming up, you want to warm up and then go right into it. You don't want to warm up and then, hey, these fights, we still have 4 or 5 left. And so you're waiting around. Is that going to be an adjustment you have to make?
No, because I've actually fought in Pancrase before, and it's the same thing. I have a thing where I like to take naps before my fights, and I like to take naps before my warm-ups and everything. And my warm-ups take a while. We don't like to straight go and blast out a hard warm-up. We'll take our time, and Pancrase is very professional in letting you know how many matches are coming up, when the intermissions are. They even have a TV in the back so you can watch. They're very professional. And see you later, man. I just gave my friend a ride home, so sorry about that. Okay. They're very professional about letting you know when to start warming up, when to start, when it's okay. They'll give you time, and it doesn't really matter. 21 fights, that just means I get to watch 20 fights before mine.
You're fighting Shintaro Ishiwatari. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
I think he's a great opponent. He's come from Japan. He's a southpaw. He's a power puncher. He goes in, and this guy wants to put you away. He poses his own threats and problems, but he's been a good champion. I think it's my time, and I think it's his time to step down, and so not step down, but I think it's my time to take that belt. He's going to come at me, and I know he's training with some of my ex-opponents, and I'm pretty sure they're coming after me with that revenge mentality. I've trained with. I fought Tokoro, and I fought against Masakatsu Ueda, and I beat them both. And sure enough, who do I see training with them? Mr. Ishiwatari. So I know they're plotting against me, and I know they're training hard for me, which is perfectly fine because I plan on going out there and getting my hand raised. Mm-hmm. So It is what it is, man.
Given your history and the fact that you fought some guys that he's training with, what do you think his camp is telling him to do against you in this fight?
Most of the guys that I've fought over there have tried to take me down and just stifle me with wrestling. When I fought Nakajima, I thought it was going to be a striking war, and sure enough, he started pressing me against the cage and turned it into a grappling match, which that completely caught me by surprise. So, naturally, I'm thinking, he's probably going to try to wrestle me and grapple me and everything. But I don't think that he has the stifling ability of Ueda. I think Ueda is a top-notch wrestler, and he was able to shut down most of my submissions until the third round. And that was only because of cardio. I think he's going to try to wrestle me and make it a dirty boxing match. Wrestle, elbow, knee, all that stuff. I'm using a lot of. I've been watching his fights, and I'm seeing what he has trouble with, and I'm seeing what he has success with. So I'm trying to stay out of his success zones and putting him in his own trouble zone.
Mm-hmm. Without giving away your game plan or anything, where do you think you have the advantage in this fight?
I think I have the advantage in grit. I think my will to fight. I have more will to fight than he does. Not to say that he's not willing to fight. I just think that I have less quit. I think he has more quit in him than I do. Not necessarily because of his fight style or anything, but he has so many fights. He recognizes when he's losing a fight, and he recognizes when he's winning a fight. He's had the Japanese MMA guys, they have a wealth of experience because they fight so often. So I think that's gonna play a big factor into this fight. So I'm gonna try to bully him. I'm gonna try to hit him. I'm gonna try to sub him. I'm gonna try to throw everything at him.
Who's gonna be cornering you for the fight?
I'm gonna have Josh Barnett and possibly DJ Taiki. He'll be fighting in Rising at the end of the year, but he's gonna he was spending a little time at CSW, and he actually cornered me in my last fight. He does a real good job of helping me warm up, and he's my size, and he's a good cornerman to have.
Victor, we'll end on this. It's a little segment I like to call Really Random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. Here's the first question.
I like this already. All right, go ahead, Rick.
Here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Superpower I'd love to have? Fly.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Fight Club.
Movie you've seen the most times?
Ooh, Braveheart. Freedom!
Favorite color?
Favorite color is red.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
The song Torn by that Imbruglia chick.
You're 11-1 in your pro mixed martial arts career. That one came against Joe Murphy by split decision back in April of 2014 at Fight Club OC. Two-part question. First part, do you think you won that fight? And second part, what did you learn from that loss?
Coming right after that loss, as I'm sitting in the back, I was actually kicking myself in the butt because I was like, why did the judges see it that way? Of course, I was blaming everybody but myself. I was like, how could the judges have seen it that way? I obviously took them down more, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, when I got home, I was like, you know what? I went out there and I didn't win that fight. I did not win convincingly, and I didn't sub him, and I didn't knock him out. So, naturally, I didn't win that fight. I don't feel like I lost that fight, but at the same time, I didn't go out there and I didn't take it from him and leave him either a bloody mess on the floor, or I didn't leave without his arm or leg. So, whether I lost that fight is up to speculation, but for sure, I didn't absolutely go in there and win that fight. Mm-hmm. Taking away from that fight, there's a lot of tough guys out there, and I have, there was a few spots in that fight where I could have finished him. Like, I had a good position, and I had, maybe I had an arm isolated, or I had the opportunity to take a neck, and I didn't capitalize on those opportunities. We don't, as fighters, we get tired, of course, in the middle of it, and we think about, all right, well, if I go for this and it doesn't work, then I'm going to be tired. But then now we're thinking about the after effects and everything, and just like Bruce Lee said, don't think about the outcome, just think about your technique. And I've even training with Josh all these years, like, if you don't commit to something, you're not going to get something. Nothing's going to come of it. So, I learned to commit. And even if my opponent ends up getting out of a submission, well, it is what it is, and you pick yourself up and you start going for it again. That's actually that lesson learned actually helped me in my last fight, because I had my arm around Fukushima's neck for a little bit, and I felt like he was getting out, and I was thinking about just letting go and just transferring to a different position, but I was like, nah, I got his neck, I'm gonna commit to it, and if he gets out, it's gonna be because he bit down on his mouthpiece and he went through it. So I started squeezing on his neck more and more and more and more, and I committed. The more I committed, the more I heard and felt him gagging, and I just kept committing to it. So that commitment, the lessons I learned from that Joe Murphy fight actually helped me secure this title shot. So,
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
Go-to song when I'm singing in the shower? FBS by Gohor.
Favorite social media platform?
Probably Instagram, because not a lot of people talk too much.
I've seen a lot of pictures of you on there making all these faces. You've got to be the king of the crazy face. So where does this all come from? Are people egging you on to do this, or is this something that just comes natural to you?
It's natural. I mean, people egg me on to be more serious. I don't like to be too serious. I I like having fun, being a joker, and even when I spent time in Japan, coming back to the gym at CSW, a lot of my fellow training partners, they come up to me and they say, "Oh man, we've missed you, we've missed your energy," and just being around here is now that you're back, it's going to be a lot better. I think that I've been blessed, and I've been so lucky in my life to have guys like Josh come in, and Paulson, of course, and my friends, and people actually took time on me, and I've just been so lucky, and why am I gonna be sad and bitter? Everybody's got their own situations that they have, and I've got my situations that I have and been in and everything, but why am I gonna take negativity from those situations just to pass it on in the world? I'm trying to make the world a better place than I came into it. I'm gonna be happy no matter what. It's what my parents taught me. It's what my life has taught me. There's no point in being bitter all the time. Even in times of, there's only a couple times I'm ever serious. That's when my steak comes back overcooked and I'm about to fight. And those are the only times that I'm ever really serious, and even then, after the fight, bam, right back to joking around. That's just who I am, and that's why I think people like to be around me, and hopefully they like to be around me, and they're not liars and just saying they like to be around me, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of social media, I saw a cover photo on your Facebook fan page. It's a very nice drawing of you armbarring Corey Von Bauer from your fight at Super Fight League 35 America. Two-part question. Do you actually have a physical copy of this? Is this a painting that's hanging on your wall? Or is this something where the artist, whoever it is who drew it, just scanned it or drew it online and then emailed it to you and you posted it online? Do you actually have a physical copy of this picture? And also, who's the artist? Who drew this? A friend of Josh Barnett, by the name is escaping me. I can't remember his name. Lucky Nakazawa. He's a bartender and also an artist. He makes comic books, and he drew this, which is. It's an amazing thing. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Who's that?" And then he goes, "Oh, it's you." "Oh man, thanks." It's not. I don't have an actual physical copy of it. It's. I think he drew it and took a picture of it, or he drew it on the computer. I'm not really too sure, but it's made by Lucky Nakazawa. I see. Well, it's a really, really nice picture. I must say.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, "Hey, that's pretty cool." I like the way he captured my hair. Yeah, my hair has always been an issue with my coaches, and and I think the fact that my hair is all crazy and everything kind of reflects my personality.
Hobbies outside of fighting.
Hobbies outside of fighting: skating, eating, and talking crap with my friends.
Favorite food?
Steak and mango. What is it? The mango bread over at 85 Bakery. Oh my God, I go there and they don't have it sometimes, and I just throw a fit.
Least favorite food?
Least favorite food is anything vegan.
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant would be probably the ones I haven't been to because I want to go try them. But as of right now, El Rocoto, Peruvian food.
Because you have this fight coming up on December 13th, what was your Thanksgiving looking like?
It was looking exactly the way it's been looking for years and years and years, man. I ate till I couldn't eat anymore. I have one of those metabolisms that's just really unfair. So, keeping weight on me is actually hard. So, I mean, when I fought, a few fights ago, I went and ran sprints. It was about a week before my weigh-ins, and Mr. Barnett and I went ahead and had a bunch of sliders, quarter-pounder sliders, and we were just stuffing our faces, and I still made weight fine. So, my meals are always epic.
Tell me about your training in Thailand. Was this the first time you had been to Thailand to train, or had you done this before?
No, No, that was my first time over in Thailand. The Thailand training it was great. I got to be within the a fighter's lifestyle. Over here in America, it's cool. Like, I live a fighter's lifestyle, but over there, I was living at the gym, training twice a day, every day. I mean, every practice goes for about 3 to 5 hours. It is just constant, and it's brutal, and it's going all the time. Not only that, but it is amazingly hot over there. I mean, it's hot, humid. Every morning is an 8-mile run. It was a great experience. I pulled a lot away from it, and I feel like that got me in a great shape. In a great shape for this fight.
How long were you there for?
About 2 weeks. Yeah, I was there for about 2 weeks.
When did you get back?
All sorts of mosquitoes. I got back on the 18th.
This fight on December 13th will be your 4th fight. Is that a good amount of fights in a year for you?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I figure as long as I'm healthy and I'm able to go, then yeah, we'll go. When I first got the call for this fight, Josh hits me up and he asked me, "How you feeling?" I feel fine, And he goes, "Well, they're asking if you want to fight in December." I said, "Absolutely, let's go for it. I'm healthy, I'm fine, I'm young. Let's do this." I'm not nursing any injuries. I'm not concussed in any way. So let's go for it. I'm healthy. Let's put on a show.
You've finished guys by submission, and you've also finished guys by TKO. So I'm curious, what do you like better, winning by knockout or submission?
I like winning by submission better, because after a submission, the guy gets up and you shake hands and it's all good. Not to say I won't take a knockout. Of course I will, but of course there comes the recovery time from a knockout. They gotta take time off training. They got migraines. They possibly got cuts, or orbitals are broken, or whatever. Whatever injuries come with a knockout. Submissions are just so much cleaner. Not only that, but there's more strategy that goes into submissions, and it feels like if I out strategize somebody and I lock up a neck or I lock up an arm, to me it's more of a defeating thing. Yes, I got you, I controlled you, I set you up, and then I almost broke your arm. Rather than something wild happened and I hit you in the face really, really hard,
Now, you touched on it a little bit earlier when you were talking about the Japanese fans and how they really cheer on the effort more than the result of the fight. They'd love for someone just to go out there and fight and lose and have it be a great, exciting fight than to see someone win in some boring snooze fest. So, do you like fighting in front of the Japanese fans better than the American fans?
I wouldn't say I like fighting in front of them better. I mean, I'm just saying that they have a lot more respect. I like fighting for myself. I'm not fighting for fans necessarily. I mean, of course, there are fans out there, and everybody's either gonna love you or hate you. Look at this past big fight with Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey. People are gonna love you, people are gonna hate you, and after that, they're either gonna love you or hate you again. I like fighting, but the Japanese have been treating me really well, and Americans also treat me really well. I like the mentality of both sets of people. Japanese people are really quiet during the fight, and then afterwards, win, lose, or draw, that's when they come up to you, "Oh, great fight, great fight, great fight." But then again, there's nothing to replace an American during a fight where everybody's yelling and screaming, and that energy is coming as you're fighting. That's a completely different thing from Japan, and it's a great feeling also.
I saw an article about you, and in that article it said that you're someone who doesn't really worry about fighting in the big shows. It said that you're not someone who worries about fighting for the UFC or Bellator or World Series of Fighting. You don't really fight for promotions, you fight for yourself. You don't really care about fighting in these big organizations just because they're considered to be big promotions. You say promotions come and go all the time, so you don't really value fighting in the big shows that much. You really just focus on what you're doing and focus on trying to be the best fighter you can be. So I'm just curious, what's your goal? If it's not to make it to the UFC or make it to another big show, like a lot of fighters nowadays, that's their main goal, is to just get in the big show and then see where things take them after they make it to a big show. If it's not that, what is your goal? What are you hoping to do with your career?
It's just a fight. Fighting is what I want to do. I want to compete. I want to fight. Organizations are fleeting. Everybody's making new organizations. I mean, you look at there's a new organization, Ryzen, coming up. I mean, everybody's going up, and the landscape of MMA is changing so much right now. So it's. Who does anybody want to fight for? And that doesn't matter to me. I believe that as long as I'm an entertaining person to watch fight, then there will always be a home for somebody like that. Mm-hmm. People are getting cut out of bigger organizations for being boring. Even though they're at the top of the hill, if nobody wants to watch them fight, nobody really cares. Like Money Mayweather. I mean, he's arguably the best boxer of our day, but time and time again, people are buying his fights, and they always come out disappointed. But then now, people want to see that Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo fight, and that's going to pull a lot, and people are going to be talking about that fight. That's what I want to happen with me. That's my goal. I want to be one of those people that people talk about me even after I'm long and retired. People are going to talk about my fights, how entertaining they were, and not the organization that I fought for. That's my ultimate goal.
In your contract with Pancrase, and maybe this will change if you become Bantamweight King of Pancrase come December 13th, but as of right now, are you able to get out of your Pancrase contract and fight for the UFC or Bellator or some of these other organizations should they try to come in and sign you?
As of right now, I can fight for any other organization outside of Japan. If it's a fight in Japan, I can only fight for Pancrase. But anywhere else around the world, I can fight for anybody.
Right now, you're 11-1 as a pro. You're on a 5-fight win streak with 4 finishes. You're an exciting fighter. You're someone who finishes a lot of your fights, and you're someone who always is going for the finish, so you're a very entertaining fighter. I gotta assume that the UFC or Bellator or World Series of Fighting has been talking to your manager and trying to come in and sign you. What kind of interest have you got from those shows? Have they come in and tried to sign you? I gotta assume that because of your fighting style and because you've been doing so well that those organizations have shown some interest. So who have you heard from the major U.S. promotions?
You know what? I believe so. I'm really not sure because I leave that all up to Josh and the management company over there. I try to make it as easy on me as possible. So I just show up to training and I fight. When Josh says we have a fight, all right, awesome, let's get ready for this fight. I leave all the clerical, all the contract stuff, all the offers. I leave that over there. I leave that with him.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or superstitions?
I like to take a nap right before my fight. Other than that, just a little scream right before I walk out, and it's get to business.
What about post-fight rituals?
I like to put on my zebra pants. I have some zebra spats that I like to throw on after fights. That I don't think has gotten a lot of pictures, which is surprising to me because as soon as I win, then I throw on them zebra pants and I start walking around and I start cracking jokes. Mm-hmm.
See, I saw a picture of you being raised up in those pants, and I thought those were like the Aoki tights. So I was trying to figure out what fight you wore those in. I didn't know that was something that came on after the fight was over. So I was looking around, what fight was this from? So I didn't know that was something that happens after the fight. I thought that was something that you were wearing during a fight. Kind of like how Aoki used to wear those tights.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, I prefer to fight in the short shorts. It's just more free motion and everything. Yeah, that definitely comes on after the fight.
Okay.
And I've been doing that since my amateur days.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
My favorite band is probably Van Halen. Solo artist? I'm not really sure about that one. Solo artist.
favorite TV show, and it can be a couple. So give me one TV show that's currently on the air, and a TV show that's no longer on the air. Just favorite TV shows.
Favorite TV show as of right now is Game of Thrones. That thing has my soul in a chokehold. I mean, that show is killing me inside. It is just killing me, and the fact that I have to wait till next year to watch it is killing me. Game of Thrones, of course, Dragon Ball Z, Power Rangers. That show is freaking awesome. Of course, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. All the other new, the new stuff, not a big fan. But Mighty Morphin Power Rangers just part of my childhood. Big Bang Theory's all right. I'm liking Big Bang Theory. But man, Game of Thrones, that thing is killing me.
Okay.
I like it so much that it's going to be the death of me.
Website you visit most often?
Probably Reddit. Piece
of technology you can't live without?
My phone and probably a computer. Everything revolves around the computer. I'm either on my phone watching YouTube videos of submission highlights, or even if I'm not at the gym, I'm looking at techniques on my phone. So yeah, my phone probably.
Who's your celebrity crush?
Amelia Clark, and I'm gonna ask her to date me after I win that King of Pancrase belt, because the King of Pancrase needs a queen, and the Queen of Dragons is the one for me.
Nice. That's great. Celebrity people say you look like?
I've gotten so many. It's ridiculous. Okay, it all depends on the way I cut my hair. One time I shaved my head, and people said I look like Justin Timberlake, which I said they are crazy, because if that was the case, I'd be on magazines. And then I had I cut my hair in a different way, and then I started making fun of myself because I said I looked like Ellen DeGeneres. Then it grew out a little bit longer, and then they said I looked like James Franco. And I'm just, it's just, I get so many. Some chicks said I look like that one guy from, what's his name? He was in that movie, Fighter. He was in the Mad Max movie. What's his name?
What's his name? Bane. Tom Hardy. That's it.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Bane. Yeah.
I've gotten that guy before. I'm like, God, these girls are crazy, because if that was the case, I'd be on magazines.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
The best thing that ever happened to me has probably got to be it's not one instance, but it's, I would say, a series of instances where it gave me the mentality of persevering. If without that, I would never have been able to meet Josh or Eric Paulson, or have gotten to this stage that I'm at now in my life. It's through perseverance, and it's through all that I've been able to make myself what I am today.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
Worst thing that ever happened to me? Probably being shot. Being shot or being sliced with a machete. That sucks.
When and where did these happen?
Well, they're in Southgate. When I was younger, there was a drive-by, and the shot didn't go directly in me, and more skid me, but that was pretty freaking traumatizing. And my friends, we were playing Monopoly on my friend's porch, and we hear some gunshots. Naturally, we all look, and some guy is running towards our direction, but he's shooting in the opposite direction. And by the time I turn around and look back, my friend's right inside, and they closed the door, and I was like, crap. So I started running towards the engine block of a car, and I guess the other guys, the gangsters, thought that I was an opposing gang member, so they started trying to shoot me, but they got in their car, but not before skidding me with a bullet. And one time with this guy, his sister had a crush on me, and sure enough, when I let her down nicely, this guy comes at me with a machete, which I backed up, but I hit him with my skateboard, and I pieced out really fast.
Some crazy stuff right there. That shooting, that's enough to turn somebody off to board games forever.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the things happen to people, and I believe it's all in the way you translate them, and you can't really blame you can't blame your life on other people's situations or what they try to do to you, or what they try to do for you. You know, like, you make your own decisions and you live life, and you try to be happy with people and give them opportunities that they wouldn't have had because that's what good people do.
What's your pet peeve?
Overcooked steak. I cannot stand that. When people, I mean, to me, it takes more effort to overcook my steak over when I go eat somewhere. Like, you literally leave the steak. You didn't actually have to do anything. The fire did it. All you had to do was pick it up off the fire or off the pan. Can't stand it when I get my steak overcooked. Another pet peeve is terrible body odor. You know, especially with in the business that I'm in. You know, I'm rolling with people and wrestling and sparring, and when somebody's got terrible BO, or the night before they were out boozing and it's seeping through their skin. Can't stand that.
How do you like your steak cooked? Medium rare?
I take it correctly. Medium rare.
Oh, correctly.
Yeah, I take it correctly. Everything past. I'll forgive somebody if they get it medium, but anything past that, no, you just got beef jerky.
Let's say you found a magic lamp and you rubbed that magic lamp and a genie appeared, and the genie said he was going to grant you 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be?
All right. Well, the first wish would be get a fighter house and be in a situation where I could, where me and my fellow fighters and all those struggling fighters can be in the same house. That way we can hold each other accountable when somebody's being lazy, somebody's being bitchy. You know, we can all be there and be in that situation. That'd be wish number 1. Wish number 2 would be for that house to always be fully stocked with every kind of food. Because, of course, we'd be in the house and it'd suck because we had no food, and we all, starting off as a fighter is really, really hard. So naturally, the money is always going to be an issue. So if we always got a fully stacked fridge, I mean that's most of it right there. Housing and food right there. My number 3 wish would be to never be permanently injured. And naturally, that would suck. You get injured, and now you got this fighter house, and you're all full of food and stuff, and now your knee's blown out. So I don't ever want to be injured like that. I don't mind stubbing my toe, but when it comes to my ACL, yeah, I gotta take care of that.
What's your porn star name? If you combined your childhood pet with the street you grew up on, what's your porn star name?
All right, well, I got my porn star name, which is Honky Kong, but if I gotta do it by the rules that you said, it would be Nebraska Nanook.
Okay. That's an interesting
There's actually a funny story behind Honky Kong.
Okay, let's hear it.
We were at the gym, and this past usually in October, the guys and I, we always make jokes that we're gonna do a thing for October. It's called Cocktober, and we're all gonna be male strippers or whatever. So we all came up with our own names, and I said, all right, I'm gonna be Honky Kong.
I've looked at a lot of the MMA websites and the databases, and all of them say you don't have a nickname.
I do have a nickname. It's La Mangosta. It means, it's Spanish for the mongoose. And Josh coined that, even though I told, because the thing is that he wanted to appeal to my Latin side, and he wanted to give me something with some little Latin flair, and I said, okay, well, my dad has been calling me El Monstro since I was a kid, the monster, El Monstro. And he goes, and he just completely threw that out and ended up calling me La Mangosta, which is the mongoose, because apparently it fits my character, very curious and feisty.
Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why?
Probably be the very beginning. Whenever that was, I want to be around for that. Because, it's the start of everything. You get to see nature as it really was, and as, landscapes change so much, and, whatever theories and, ideologies you believe in, it is what it is. But, nobody can refute that at some point in time, things started. And I want to go back to that because, every time period has its own kind of messed up thing. A lot of people say they want to go back to the Roman Empire, and I'm like, nah, I'm good because those slaves, and I don't want to be in I don't want to be a Roman gladiator, and I don't want to go in the Colosseum. Screw that. I don't want to be eaten by lions. At every time period, there's always been some good and a lot of bad. But at the very, very beginning, there was nothing. There was just nature and dudes walking around. People walking around and just being people. That's what I want to go back to.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay?
I would stay 34. Because at that age, you're young enough to where you're still operative, but you're old enough to be experienced, and without your body being broken down too much. Of course, in this line of work, being 34 is considered old, and but of course you got your injuries from years and years of training. But if I utilize my third wish from that magic lamp, then I wouldn't have that, and all I would have is experience, and I'd still have my body working for me pretty well, and it'd be pretty awesome.
Right.
I'd be distinguished and I'd be young at the same time. It'd be sweet.
If you weren't an MMA fighter, what would your job be?
Zoologist. That's actually what I wanted to be before I was an MMA fighter. I wanted to go into zoology, spend time with big cats like tigers, pumas, and it was either that or herpetology. I wanted to study reptiles, and I really love animals. And now I'm not saying that I'm gonna go join PETA and stuff, but I really like that side of studying nature, being able to possibly be a Steve Irwin. That'd be pretty cool.
If you could trade places with anyone for a week, who would you trade places with?
Whoever's dating Amelia Clark right now.
Nice. Person you look up to the most?
The person I look up to the most would probably have to be Coach Paulson. Coach Paulson, because he really paved the way for a lot of Americans over in Japan. Is the way it started off and everything. I really look up to Josh, a lot, and I look up to my mom, and I look up to my father a lot too. But Paulson actually went through. He's the one that broke down the door for us quite low over in Japan. So yeah, I look up to him a lot.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
The ability to get to training. Sometimes, things just go crappy, and you gotta make decisions. Like just recently, I lost my wallet on Thanksgiving, and I don't have a license right now. So I'm driving around with this expired license, and I'm kind of like, well, I got to get to practice. And if a cop were to pull me over, and if he wanted to give me a hard time, he could. So as long as I'm able to get to training, and I'm able to better myself every day, that's what counts. So naturally, if I can't do that, whether it be car problems or errands that I have to run or take paramount, as long as I'm able to get to training, I know I'll be okay.
Best advice you're ever given through life, and best advice you're ever given through fighting, and who gave it to you?
Best advice would probably be from Josh. He says, I'm the one that's accountable for everything in my career. Josh, he's given me the tools in order to, and he spent a lot of time on me to be where I am today. But, and every time I ever thank him, he goes, oh, well, good job, but you're the one that does it. He's the one that gives me the drills. I'm the one that does it, and I dictate how much percentage I give myself to those drills. I can just kind of like mosey on through the drills, or I could do the drills like I really mean it. So that's a life lesson, from Josh, that I'm accountable for all of my successes and failures. So that's a life lesson. A fight lesson would be from Joe Murphy. Commit. He didn't actually tell me to do that, but I pulled that away from that fight. You gotta commit. Whether win, lose, or draw, you commit, because commitment is what separates the big dogs from the puppies, man. I mean, you gotta commit yourself fully and entirely to something. And if not, then you can't get mad when you get half-ass results when you put in half of your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Number one thing on your bucket list?
As of right now, I want to skydive.
What's your hidden talent? My
hidden talent is I can clap with one hand.
Can you do it now on the phone?
Let me see if you can hear it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Can you hear that?
That's great. That's amazing. Last question, Victor. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
I would most definitely change people's attitudes towards each other. I think if everybody got on a mat and just was equal, there needs to be more mats in this world, and just people they don't need to beat the crap out of each other, but they for sure need to wrestle. Because I think wrestling and just being in a state where you physically exhaust yourself, and because people don't really realize what their bodies are capable of doing. It's like our bodies are made to be strong and fast, and imagine driving a car and never going past 50 miles an hour. The moment you start pushing it to 70, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, and that steering wheel starts shaking, and people don't know what to do. People don't know what to do when they're driving. I think the body is the same thing. I think I've made so many friendships with people that I wouldn't have been friends with others, outside of fighting. I think if we put a mat everywhere and people were just allowed to just wrestle and just physically exhaust each other and just be in each other's faces, I think people would have a better outlook on life, and we wouldn't have so much of this so much crap, whether it be a religious disagreements or political disagreements or political and religious disagreements. We wouldn't have all this crap.
Victor, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I'd like to thank Cold Steel. They take care of me. They make really strong knives, and you'll see on YouTube people try to beat the crap out of these knives, and these things they hold up. I'd like to thank Paulson, Coach Paulson, for being there for me. I'd like to thank, of course, Josh for being there for me. I'd like to thank all my fans who actually take time out of their day, and the hardcore fans right now are the ones that are taking time out of their day and looking me up and seeing what I'm about. Hopefully when I get to the big time and people everywhere start knowing me, then those guys are going to be awesome too. But the ones that are going to be with me and stick with me through day one, those are the ones that really have my thanks. And anything to say to the fans? Hey, thanks guys, you're making it real friggin' awesome.
Victor, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. I'm not going to say good luck. I'm not going to tell you good luck, but I am going to say what the Japanese say. I'm going to tell you for December 13th to do your best.
Ganbatte, yes.
Yes. Victor, appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you calling me. It's times like this where I feel like I'm actually doing something with myself.